held that Section 5(6) is valid and constitutional. Harmoniously construed means that the proviso under Section 5(6) will apply, and the concerned member or chairman will refer to the matter to a bench consisting of minimum 2 members, one of whom must be a judicial member, when the questions related to the interpretation of a statutory provision or rule in relation to the Constitution for consideration arises of a single-member bench of the Administrative Tribunal. Conclusion. It is a well-known fact after the judgment was given in Kesavananda Bharati Vir, State of Kerala 1973 case that the basic structure of the Indian Constitution cannot be violated, and all the legislation, acts, and regulations violating it will be considered null and void. It is settled provision that the high courts are the constitutional courts and, ousting its jurisdiction and excluding its power of judicial review, is against the doctrine of the basic structure. If a new quasi-judicial body is established by the executive for speedy justice of some matters, to reduce the burden on the high courts and the Supreme Court, then the decision should be subject to judicial review, as even the judicial body's decision is subjected to judicial review. However, it is established by the zeal of providing time-effective and cost-effective justice, but nothing can be said about the quality of justice dispensed by it. So the decision by the Supreme Court in this case is highly remarkable, considering the sacrosanct constitutional provisions. The Constitution was written very precisely to restrain the power of the government and to protect the liberties of each and every one of us. Dr. Ron Paul the L. Chandra Kumar case is particularly remarkable because it highlights the tension between parliamentary sovereignty and judicial review. The question at the heart of this case is whether the judiciary has the authority to review administrative actions that impact fundamental rights, even if they are sanctioned by law. By examining this case, we gain a deeper understanding of the evolution of judicial review in India, and how the courts have constantly pushed the boundaries to ensure that the executive remains accountable to the Constitution. Turning to the specifics of the case, L. Chandra Kumar Virfree, Union of India and others revolves around the central challenge of determining the scope of judicial review and the validity of administrative actions that infringe upon fundamental rights. The petitioners in this case, comprising various central and state government employees, challenged the constitutional validity of the Tribunals Act 1985 and the Administrative Tribunals Act 1985. They argued that these acts violated their fundamental rights, particularly the right to equality before the law and the right to a fair hearing. At the heart of the petitioners' challenge lay the fear that these acts would pave the way for the executive to usurp judicial power, thereby undermining the rule of law and the principle of separation of powers. The respondents, on the other hand, contended that the Parliament had the authority to create alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, such as tribunals, to reduce the burden on the regular courts. The Supreme Court had to navigate this complex web of arguments to determine whether the Tribunals Act and the Administrative Tribunals Act were constitutionally valid, and whether they indeed infringed upon the petitioner's fundamental rights. In approaching this case, the court embarked on an in-depth analysis of the Constitution, delving into the doctrine of separation of powers, the concept of judicial review, and the role of the judiciary as the guardian of fundamental rights. The court also examined the previous judgments that had a significant impact on this case, including the landmark ruling in the S.P. Sampath Kumar case, which laid down the foundation for judicial review in India. Through a thorough examination of the Constitution, statutes, and precedents, the court had to balance the need for effective administration with the imperative of protecting fundamental rights. The court ultimately held that while the Tribunals Act and the Administrative Tribunals Act were valid, they could not be used to bypass the jurisdiction of the high courts. In essence, the Supreme Court's ruling in L. Chandra Kumar Vir, Union of India and others reaffirmed the importance of judicial review as a safety valve against executive excesses, ensuring that the rights of citizens are protected and upheld. The implications of this ruling are far-reaching, as it has strengthened the position of the judiciary as the ultimate guardian of the Constitution. This case has not only influenced the trajectory of judicial review in India, but has also underscored the significance of an independent judiciary in a democratic setup. In conclusion, the L. Chandra Kumar case is a powerful reminder of the enduring importance of